Something that I did last season on Most Cowbell was talk about the famous people that I've met, my travels and my experiences. I want to do the part 3 of this for my 19th episode, the penultimate episode of Most Cowbell for this season. So I'm going to be talking about some of the people that I met, maybe who weren't so famous when I met them, but eventually became famous. So stick around and I'll start from the beginning after this message. So, to start out this story, I need to start where I was coming from. I was in Chicago. I was playing in a band that broke up, and then I was just trying to hustling to make some money, doing the things that hippies do, you know, buying and selling quantities of certain things and delivering newspapers to head shops and other stuff. Okay, so anyway, Buck Dharma came out with my friend Steve Sauter. Steve had a big old Cadillac, and so they drove out to Chicago to visit me and hang out and see the sights and whatnot. I think neither of them had been to Chicago, so they wanted to come and visit me. I was living at the YMCA at the time, and they came, they stayed, we hung out, we had a good time. We visited with Roger Maltz and Jeff Latham, and then I begged them, please take me back to New York. I came to New York and I stayed at Don's house, his parents' house, and I painted the house for 2 weeks. I took my time. By the time I finished painting the house, the Soft White Underbelly had already started practicing. We were practicing at a house in Stony Brook. It was just outside of the campus. It was on Nichols Road, south of the campus. The first person that I met who wasn't really famous, he was kind of famous, was this guy Sandy Pearlman. And Sandy later became our manager and our producer and my close friend and songwriter. But at the time, he was just some guy who wrote for Crawdaddy magazine, a magazine that I thought was odd, an odd magazine where they reviewed rock albums in kind of a serious way. He graduated from Stony Brook. He finished his BA. He went there, and he had just graduated when I met him. While he was a student, he was the head of the Student Activities Board there. And after he graduated, his buddy, his good friend Howie Klien, became the head of the Student Activities Board. So at first I met Sandy, and then I met Howie. Howie was a kind of a dandy guy. He was very cool, always laughing and smiling, just the nicest guy you could ever want to meet. He really was a terrific person. And Howie kept hiring us for all the little activities in the school. And that's how we started. Howie eventually, he became head of Sire Records, and he became a record company CEO. And I think now he's retired from that. He is working with Norman Lear on the People for the American Way organization. You know, it's a civil rights, human rights organization. But there was a band that we used to hang out with called 3/5 Alice. Through them, we heard about this other group that was supposed to be the best group around in the area. And that was, they were called the Hassles. And they had just got a new guy in the band, a new singer. And he played the piano. He's supposed to be terrific. So we went to see the Hassles. And the keyboard guy was Billy Joel. Flash forward 10 plus years and we're in LA. We're at SIR, Studio Instrument Rentals, and we're practicing for some gig. But we pass this room and we hear some guy playing the piano and singing "Give Me Some Lovin'," and he sounds just like Stevie Winwood. So we pop our heads in, it's Billy Joel. He says, "Hey guys, I was playing that for you guys," because back in those days, when we first started with Three Fifths Alice, we were, I was the lead singer. We didn't really have a lead singer, so I sang lead because I was brave and I didn't care if I made a fool of myself. And that was our big number, was "Give Me Some Love." A little while later, there was a guy who had like a minor hit, and his name was Steve Noonan. And so he was going to play at Stony Brook, and he wanted a band to back him up because on the record he had some studio guys. So we backed up Steve Noonan, we learned his songs, and most of them were written by his buddy, whose name was Jackson Browne. One of the people that started Blue Oyster Cult, or actually Soft White Underbelly, he was a guy who played guitar, and he was from California. His name was John Wiesenthal. And so John was a music teacher, still is actually. Jackson Browne was one of his students, and he had brought Jackson to New York to meet the people at Elektra, and I think Jackson made the Nina demos. He made us a bunch of demos, about 20 demos. Jackson wanted Soft White Underbelly to be his backup band, and so he had a gig and he wanted us to play, and so he came to our house and he practiced with us for 2 weeks or over a week, maybe 10 days, I don't know, it was a bunch of days. He lived in the house with us because it was a big sprawling house. It was like 5 bedrooms or something. So, but Jackson, he was quite hot, if you know what I mean, back in those days. I had to keep a close watch on my girlfriend to make sure that she didn't slip into his bed at night. So anyway, yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking being in a band with Jackson. Kind of glad it didn't work out. And of course it worked out for both of us because he became a huge star, and Blue Oyster Cult did pretty good too. I saw him about 30 years ago. I was in San Francisco. I was going into the hotel where I was staying. It was the Miyako, and he was there in the lobby, and he greeted me warmly, and he knew exactly who I was, and it was all very cool. So Jackson Browne, I like him. He's a good guy. He's a great musician, pretty good singer. He's gotten better over the years, and so anyway, hope to see him again before I die. At some point, we can laugh about the situation with the girlfriend, long gone now. So thank you for letting me share my life with you. Have a great week. One more episode to go. We're going to do a recap next week, so stick around, come back, have a great week, and I'll see you later. Bye.